Good Thursday afternoon. Welcome to Weather for Weather Geeks on this kind of damp and cool Thursday across the valley. Recording this around 2 p.m. Eastern. This is what the radar looked like as I was recording this. And just one kind of interesting thing here. I talked about yesterday how there was an outside possibility of some thunder and lightning. That hasn't materialized in our viewing area, but there's actually quite a bit of lightning around Pittsburgh and heading back along I-70 towards Cambridge. Maybe as far west as Zanesville, mostly Cambridge, and then along 22 and I-70 out into western parts of PA. I guess at this point I wouldn't expect any lightning and thunder around the WFMJ viewing area, our 5 counties, but it wouldn't totally shock me, but it looks like the better chance is certainly off to our south and east. Well, it's just turning into just kind of a rainy day today. We've had the rain off and on. Here again is at about 2 p.m. the radar, the steadiest rain right around Youngstown, heading over towards Austintown. Struthers and Camel getting pretty moderate rain at this point, and some of that moderate rain extends down into the Newcastle area. So there's nothing tropical about this, just kind of a classic rainy day for us today. And temperature-wise, we're struggling a little bit. Of course, it's cooler than it has been. Here's a look at the temperatures as we head into the 2 o'clock hour. Generally upper 40s. This is, what you see is what you get this afternoon. This will be about as warm as it gets. Temperatures from here on out will become more and more of a story, especially as we head into next week. So that's today's little system cruising through. It actually has a little bit of snow up in northern parts of Michigan. Back edge of the clouds is out here across the Midwest. We're not going to see much sunshine here for a while. I think tomorrow is still pretty cloudy. I think the weekend will start with some sun. Saturday ends up cloudy. Sunday's all right. I think Sunday's probably the sunnier half of the weekend coming up. If we're looking for warmth today, just a real quick look at the nation, there's not a lot out there. I mean, the deep south here, where you would expect Florida, coastal Georgia, the Carolinas, it's in the 70s there. But even Texas isn't that warm. Southwest is definitely a warm spot, and it is starting to warm back up out here across the front range of the Rockies. And this is the mild air that eventually will come back east for a couple of days early next week. Until then, we expect a lot of below average temperatures. All right, well, let's take a look at the next couple of days precipitation-wise. Take off all the current information here. We'll bring up our rapid refresh, high resolution rapid refresh model, simulated radar for the rest of the day today. I'm going to skip ahead to about dinner time this evening, about 6 p.m. And at this point, yeah, still some showers around. We're going to hang on to this threat for showers, I think, for a lot of the night tonight. Here's a couple of hours after sunset. In fact, a few hours after sunset, about 9 o'clock this evening. Showers still around, middle of the night tonight as we head into midnight, 1 a.m. You get the idea here. There's going to be scattered showers as the air mass starts to cool off overnight, especially upstairs a little bit. I guess I wouldn't be all that surprised if a few wet snowflakes tried to start mixing in across the region. I think the best chance for this happening will be actually towards tomorrow morning and mostly out in northwestern PA around Erie and DuBois and heading up towards Jamestown, New York. Could be a few flurries around, but even back towards Youngstown, it wouldn't totally shock me. Here's at 3 in the morning, scattered showers around. I'll change models here and go into the day tomorrow. Here's the latest NAM model, North American model. For about daybreak tomorrow, as you get up and around and kids are getting off to school, not so nice out. It's going to be kind of a blustery day. Let me bring up the surface pressure for tomorrow morning here, isobars in other words. And let's zoom out a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. Yeah, they're packed together pretty tightly. We have high pressure out here across Missouri and Arkansas, low pressure up here just off the coast of Maine, and the pressure gradient, or the difference in the pressure between the high and the low, is going to make for some gusty winds around our area tomorrow. Now, again, you might see a snowflake or two tomorrow morning. Most of the time, just a chilly rain in a few spots as you get off to work and school. Towards midday tomorrow, our chances are going to start to decrease for seeing precipitation. I can't rule it out as we get into the afternoon, but I think the higher chance is definitely before noon. Here's at noon tomorrow. Could be a couple of streamers coming in off the lake here. Some of this is lake enhancement. So some places are going to see some showers still at midday, but not everyone. It's going to be, real hit or miss type of stuff. Some high school football playoff action tomorrow evening. I'll skip ahead to late afternoon and evening tomorrow, break it down for you here. Again, our chances for showers decreasing. Could you see one? Yeah. But more backyards will get wet in the morning than the afternoon. And here at kickoff tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Wait for the information to load in here. There's not much out there. Maybe a sprinkle or a shower. Otherwise, just kind of damp and cool and chilly and raw. We'll head into the weekend on a somewhat better note. This Saturday morning, we've got a cold front out in here Saturday morning, and out ahead of it, some sunshine to start the day Saturday, but I do think the clouds win the battle. And starting around early to perhaps mid-afternoon, we're going to start to see a couple of showers pushing in from the west. This will be hit or miss stuff. Not everyone's going to get a shower Saturday, but some places will, starting early to mid-afternoon. That'll be the case into the evening as well. And then Sunday overall, just a chilly, uneventful day. So not much going on during the day on Sunday. Same idea Monday, although Monday's probably a milder day as a west wind develops ahead of our front, and this is the blockbuster Arctic front getting set to push in on Tuesday. We'll probably get wet Tuesday, especially in the afternoon. Hate to time things, with too much detail 5 or 6 days out, but it looks more likely in the afternoon at this point on Tuesday. And then here comes the Arctic air behind this. This is some serious January-like chill as we've been advertising. And by next Wednesday into Thursday, there's going to start to be some snow showers popping up. Some lake enhancement definitely getting involved here. And I think the snow belts, the primary snow belts, are going to do pretty well with this second half of next week. This is Thursday. Again, the usual suspects, Ashtabula, Erie, heading up towards Buffalo. We're going to see snow showers and flurries around the WFMJ viewing area, sure. But I think the best chance for accumulating snow showers, lake effect style, definitely going to be in the more traditional lake effect prone areas. All right, part of the big reason why we're seeing such a big change next week, this is kind of interesting, and I apologize if this is a little hard to see, but what was once a typhoon east of Japan, right now it's right in here. To get your bearings a little bit, up here's Alaska, here's the west coast of the U.S., and then back here's Japan. Here's our system right here. This thing's going to explosively deepen as it comes north and east, becoming a monster storm, biggest storm on the planet by Saturday and Sunday along, or in the Bering Sea, which is the sea to the west of Alaska. So by the weekend, look at this monster up here, producing just massive waves, tremendous amount of wind, and, you drop this kind of a big storm into the pattern, it's going to have downstream effects. And I posted a lot of details on this on my weather blog post last evening, ericwfmj.com. Be sure and check that out. So here's some of the effects. Right now, here's the upper level airflow or pattern. We're looking down on the North Pole here. Here's the North Pole, Ohio and PA right down here. General features here. Here's the polar vortex, kind of in its usual home. Ridge of high pressure on the west coast, definitely kind of a trophy kind of a look in the eastern U.S. So that's the pattern now, but a big time change comes so that by early next week, here's the pattern. Our big Alaska storm pumps up the ridge along the west coast. It pumps it all the way across the Arctic Circle up here, so that's a huge ridge, and that has implications on the polar vortex. The polar vortex is a real thing. It always exists. It's not something that we're making up. It's not something that's new. It's just a phrase that the media got a hold of last year. It is a real thing, though, and it's something we can talk about and talk about where its location is and how that impacts our weather. Well, anyway, this ridge popping all the way across the Arctic Circle in the North Pole will dislodge the polar vortex, sending it south so that by early on next week, the polar vortex or the center of that low-pressure system is down across southern Canada. That's the kind of position we saw frequently last winter when it was really cold, and this will drive in the cold air into the continental U.S. and, easily the coldest air mass of the season coming next week. We're talking about highs here around Youngstown, probably no higher than the mid-30s for at least a few days, if not 4, 5, or 6, but at least a few days, second half of next week. We're going to be no higher than the mid-30s. There's going to be some snow showers around. Overnight lows will be in the 20s. There'll be some wind from time to time. It's going to feel like late December or January rather than mid-November. November is a chilly month, of course, but typically not as cold as December and January. All right, check out my blog post from last night again, ericwfmj.com, and thank you for watching the Thursday edition of Weather for Weather Geeks.